life on Mars? It's a question scientists have pondered for years, but now we might be close to an answer.
For centuries, Mars has been shrouded in mystery and fascination, captivating scientists and space enthusiasts alike. With the ambitious goal of establishing a new civilization on the red planet in coming decades, unraveling the secrets of Mars has become more crucial than ever before. As humanity prepares to embark on this breathtaking endeavour led by the likes of Elon Musk and NASA, a recent discovery on Mars has emerged, holding the potential to either challenge or enhance our plans. Could this discovery threaten our chances of colonizing Mars, or could it unveil groundbreaking insights about the red planet? Join us in today's video as we explore the shocking new revelations from the frontiers of Mars exploration. Mars may seem like a barren wasteland, but in reality it's anything but boring. This cold and arid planet has a unique atmosphere that's thin and prone to extreme dust storms that can cover the entire planet. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can get so frigid that it turns directly into snow or ice, and Mars quakes, similar to earthquakes, regularly rumble the surface. It's no wonder why Mars has been explored more than any other planet in our solar system. Named after the Roman god of war due to its bloody hue, Mars is covered in regolith, loose dust and rock that contains iron-rich minerals, giving the planet its distinctive rust color. Even Earth's soil is a type of regolith, although it contains a lot of organic material. NASA explains that the soil turns red because the iron minerals oxidize or rust. Despite the possibility of salty salts, liquid water is unlikely to survive on the Martian surface due to its thin and chilly atmosphere. This desert planet has the same amount of dry terrain as Earth, even though its diameter is only half that of our planet. But don't be fooled, Mars has some unique features, including Olympus Mons, the tallest mountain in the solar system at 17 miles, 27 kilometers in height, and Valles Marineris, a valley system named after the Mariner 9 probe, which stretches for about 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometers east-west, and is roughly the width of Australia. This awe-inspiring landscape was caused by the stretching of the planet's crust, and it is where some of Mars's most intriguing geological secrets can be found. The system contains individual canyons that can be up to 60 miles or 100 kilometers wide. In fact, the stratified sediments inside the canyons suggest that liquid water may have once existed there. But that's not all. Mars is also home to Olympus Mons, one of the largest volcanoes in the entire solar system. This gargantuan shield volcano is so massive that it could easily swallow the entire state of New Mexico. With a diameter of around 370 miles or 600 kilometers, Olympus Mons was formed by massive lava eruptions that flowed over vast distances before cooling and hardening. But Mars has more to offer than just this enormous mountain. From tiny steep-sided cones to vast plains covered in hardened lava, the planet is full of volcanic wonders. Who knows, there may even still be some small eruptions happening on Mars today, just waiting to be discovered by intrepid explorers. Mars is a planet of mysteries, and its surface features continue to baffle scientists. With channels, valleys, and gullies stretching across its barren landscape, the planet seems to have once had liquid water flowing on its surface. Some of these channels are up to 1,200 miles long and 60 miles wide, hinting at the possibility of ancient rivers and lakes. Recent studies suggest that salty water may still exist below the surface, containing a significant amount of oxygen that could support microbial life. But the conditions required for life depend on the temperature and pressure, which fluctuate due to the tilt of Mars's rotation axis. Mars is also home to flat, low-lying plains that could have been formed by flowing water. The northern plains, in particular, are among the smoothest and flattest regions in the solar system. The difference in elevation between the northern and southern hemispheres suggests that the crust may be thinner in the north, possibly due to a massive collision earlier in the planet's history. The number of craters on Mars varies depending on the age of the terrain. The largest crater, Hellas Planitia, is a whopping 1,400 miles wide, located in the planet's southern hemisphere. Meanwhile, the younger surface in the northern hemisphere has fewer craters. Volcanoes on Mars may also have craters, but some of these have been recently covered by lava flows. Some craters have peculiar deposits of debris around them that resemble hardened mud flows, hinting at the possibility of water or ice beneath the surface. In 2018, the European Space Agency's Mars Express probe made a thrilling discovery beneath the ice of Planum Australe. It spotted what appears to be a mixture of water and grains that some refer to as a lake, but the amount of regolith in the water remains unknown. This massive body of water spans over 12 miles or 20 kilometers wide, and its subsurface setting is reminiscent of underground lakes in Antarctica, which have confirmed bacteria. Later that year, the Mars Express also observed a large icy zone in the Korolev crater on the Red Planet. From the poles to latitudes of about 80 degrees in both Martian hemispheres, you can find extensive deposits that seem like stacks of water ice and dust that have intricately stratified. It is thought that these deposits were continuously deposited by the atmosphere. Many of these stratified deposits in both hemispheres are blanketed by caps of water ice that are permanently frozen. Mars is much colder than Earth due to its substantial distance from the Sun. Although temperatures can range from -195 degrees Fahrenheit, -125 degrees Celsius at the poles during the winter, to as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius near the equator at midday. On average, the temperature is approximately -80 degrees Fahrenheit, -60 degrees Celsius. Despite the fact the atmosphere of Mars is typically around 100 times less dense than Earth's, it is still thick enough to sustain weather, clouds, and winds. Mars is a planet of strange and extreme weather. One of its peculiarities is the seasonal variations in the atmosphere's density caused by carbon dioxide's expulsion during winter. Long ago, the Martian atmosphere was much thicker and capable of supporting water flowing on its surface. However, without a magnetic field, lighter molecules were forced to escape over time under the push of the solar wind, and NASA's MAVEN mission is now investigating this process. Interestingly, Mars is the only planet in the solar system that experiences carbon dioxide snow clouds during winter, as discovered by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. But the strange weather doesn't stop there. The dust storms on Mars can be enormous, with warm air pockets moving towards colder areas and creating wind in the process. The strong winds lift more dust, heating up the atmosphere and increasing the wind speed and dust production. These dust storms can be so dangerous that robots operating on the Martian surface can be put in serious jeopardy. In 2018, the NASA Opportunity Mars rover fell victim to a massive storm that trapped the robot and prevented sunlight from reaching its solar panels for days on end, leading to its ultimate demise. Mars, the fourth planet from the Sun, is a world of extremes. It takes nearly double the time of Earth to make one orbit around the Sun, but it rotates on its axis in just under 24 hours and 40 minutes, making it similar to Earth. Despite being further from the Sun, Mars, like Earth, has seasons because of its tilted axis. However, because of its more elongated orbit, the seasons on Mars are far more intense than those on Earth. The northern hemisphere of Mars experiences long and mild summers when the planet is farthest from the Sun, whereas the southern hemisphere has a long, frigid winter. During its closest approach to the Sun, the southern hemisphere enjoys a brief warm summer, while the northern hemisphere has a brief freezing winter. The lack of a large moon means that the tilt of Mars' axis fluctuates significantly over time, leading to different climates and conditions on the planet's surface. A 2017 study suggested that Mars's changing axis tilt may have also impacted the release of methane into its atmosphere, causing warming spells and enabling water to flow on the surface. Mars is smaller than Earth, with a diameter of just 4,220 miles compared to Earth's 7,926 miles. Its gravitational pull is also 38% less than Earth's, meaning objects weigh less on the red planet. In fact, a 100-pound person on Earth would weigh just 62 pounds on Mars. Now imagine a time 4 billion years ago when Mars was a very different place. The red planet had a global magnetic field, just like Earth, protecting its atmosphere from the solar wind. But then something happened, and the magnetic field was lost. The solar wind began to strip away Mars's atmosphere, changing the planet forever. However, even though the global magnetic field disappeared, there are still some parts of Mars's crust that are magnetized at least 10 times more strongly than anything observed on Earth. This hints that these areas might be leftovers from that earlier magnetic field. Scientists believe that the core of Mars is made up of iron, nickel, and sulfur, while the majority of its mantle is composed of peridotite, a rock made of silicon, oxygen, iron, and magnesium, similar to Earth's mantle. The Martian crust is probably mostly basalt, another type of volcanic rock, with some regions possibly containing andesite, a volcanic rock with more silica than basalt. NASA's InSight lander has been on a mission to explore the Martian interior since it landed near the equator in November 2018. The InSight mission team tracks the lander's position on the planet's surface to study and analyze the quakes and motion changes on Mars over time. One of their recent estimates was the size of Mars's core, which they found to be between 1,110 to 1,300 miles in diameter. The team also measured the typical thickness of the planet's crust to be between 14 and 45 miles, with the mantle making up the rest of the non-atmospheric bulk. In comparison to Earth, the mantle on Earth is about 1,800 miles thick, and its core is nearly 4,400 miles wide, which is bigger than Mars itself. The Earth's continental crust has an average thickness of approximately 25 miles, while the oceanic crust is only about 5 miles thick. Now, are you curious about the moons of Mars? Let's talk about Phobos and Deimos, the two satellites of the Red Planet. These moons were discovered in 1877 by the American astronomer Asaph Hall, who named them after the sons of the Greek war god Ares. Phobos means fear, while Deimos means dread. Unlike Earth's moon, which is large and nearly spherical, Phobos and Deimos are small, irregularly shaped, and composed of ice and rock rich in carbon. They are covered in dust and loose boulders due to the low gravity on Mars, which can't shape them into a more circular form. Phobos is the larger of the two, with a maximum width of around 17 miles or 27 kilometers, while Deimos is smaller, with a maximum width of about 9 miles, 15 kilometers. The craters on both moons are evidence of meteor strikes, and Phobos has an intricate network of grooves that may have formed as a result of fissures after an impact that created the moon's largest crater, which measures about the half width of Phobos and is approximately 6 miles, 10 kilometers across. However, the origins of Phobos and Deimos are still a mystery. Some astronomers believe that they formed at the same time as Mars, while others think they may have been asteroids that Mars's gravity pulled into orbit. In fact, researchers from the University of Padova in Italy have found solid evidence that Phobos is a captured asteroid by analysing the ultraviolet light reflected from its surface. But here's the kicker: Phobos is gradually spiralling closer to Mars, getting about 6 feet, 1.8 meters closer every century. Eventually, Phobos will either collide with Mars or disintegrate and leave a ring of debris around the planet. So keep your eyes on the sky, because the fate of Phobos is yet to be determined. Furthermore, Mars has never been an easy target for space exploration, as NASA, Russia, the European Space Agency, China, Japan, and the Soviet Union can attest to after losing several spacecraft in their attempts to study the Red Planet. However, our fascination with Mars has a long history. Galileo Galilei was the first person to observe Mars through a telescope in 1610, and astronomers in the following century discovered the planet's polar ice caps. Percival Lowell and others in the 19th and 20th centuries believed they had found evidence of canals on Mars, which they thought could indicate the existence of a past civilization. But those observations turned out to be inaccurate interpretations of geological features. Nonetheless, we have been fortunate enough to study pieces of Mars that have fallen to Earth in the form of meteorites, providing valuable insight into the planet's makeup. One of the most debated findings is the Martian meteorite Allen Hills 84001, or ALH 84001, which may contain evidence of Martian life, such as minute fossils. While some scientists have questioned the veracity of this claim, the team that published the study in 1996 stands by its conclusions to this day. Meanwhile, another meteorite study from 2018 revealed that organic molecules, which are the building blocks of life, may have developed on Mars through chemical reactions similar to those found in batteries. The quest to uncover the mysteries of Mars has been a long and arduous journey, marked by numerous successes and failures. It all began in the 1960s when the United States launched Mariner spacecrafts to monitor the Red Planet, followed by the Soviet Union's own attempts. While early missions did not reveal any signs of life or past civilizations, Mariner 9 successfully mapped almost 80% of Mars in 1971, revealing its volcanoes and valleys. NASA's Viking landers made the first successful landing on Mars in 1976, capturing up-close images of the Martian surface, but no evidence of life was found. Since then, the quest for answers has continued with the launch of various probes and rovers, each making its own unique discoveries. The Mars Odyssey spacecraft discovered vast amounts of water ice beneath the surface, while the Spirit and Opportunity rovers found indications that water had once flowed on Mars's surface. NASA's Mars Science Laboratory mission launched the Curiosity rover in 2011, which discovered that the planet had supported a long-lived, potentially habitable lake and stream system. Other orbiters and spacecrafts operated by both NASA and the European Space Agency are now circling the planet, including the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MAVEN, Mars Express, and the Trace Gas Orbiter. In 2018, NASA successfully landed the Mars InSight lander, which is analysing Mars's quakes to gain a deeper understanding of the planet's interior structure and composition. Despite numerous successes, the quest for answers about Mars is far from over, and there is still much to discover and explore. The journey has been long and challenging, but the discoveries made so far have been invaluable in our ongoing pursuit of knowledge about our neighbouring planet. In July 2020, NASA launched its most advanced rover yet, the Perseverance rover, on a mission to explore Mars and search for signs of ancient life. Equipped with state-of-the-art tools and cameras, this robotic astrobiologist has been sending back fresh and breathtaking images of the Red Planet, allowing scientists to better understand its atmosphere and terrain. Since then, the rover has already provided us with over 282,000 photos and even recorded the first sounds ever heard on Mars, opening up a whole new sensory experience of the planet. Despite the barren appearance of Mars, the rocks on the planet preserve a record of what they have been exposed to over thousands of years, and the core of Perseverance's mission is to hunt for biosignatures or signs of former life within those rocks. Perseverance has already travelled across the crater bottom and collected 8 rock samples, which could potentially contain vital clues to the existence of ancient life on Mars. The mission is not without its challenges, and bringing these samples back to Earth could be a daunting task, but researchers are determined to make it happen in the early 2030s. In the meantime, scientists are studying the history of a heavily eroded river delta inside the Jezero crater, which is believed to have been formed by an asteroid collision some 4 billion years ago. These rocks could be a potential treasure trove of information, as they represent conditions that ancient life, if it existed on Mars, would have loved to be in because they would have been exposed to liquid water in the delta habitat, which is necessary for life to exist on any planet as far as we know. Perseverance's exploration of Jezero crater has been full of surprises and unexpected discoveries. Scientists initially anticipated sedimentary rocks on the crater floor, but instead found igneous rocks. This discovery implies that the crater was once filled with lava, which was a surprise to experts. Although igneous rocks are not the most promising for astrobiological discovery, they are helpful for establishing a geologic timescale on Mars. Scientists can utilize the core samples that Perseverance has collected to date and establish significant geologic events throughout Martian history. While sedimentary rocks have greater potential for biological discoveries, scientists can still learn a lot from igneous rocks. Each type of rock tells a unique story, and having both types of rocks will provide scientists with a more comprehensive understanding of Mars. Stromatolites, which are layered rock structures created by microorganisms on Earth, are one example of the earliest signs of biological activity on our planet. Perseverance may find a visual clue similar to a stromatolite on Mars, but scientists will need to take their time and carefully evaluate any such discoveries, since some strictly geological processes can resemble biological ones. Perseverance is not just any ordinary robot. It comes with an impressive array of tools and instruments that are designed to help it decipher the chemical composition of its surroundings on Mars. But there's another aspect that has got the scientists excited: the possibility of discovering organic molecules. These are the fundamental building blocks of life, and their detection could be a strong indicator of the existence of prehistoric life on Mars. Perseverance's sophisticated equipment is well equipped to pick up these molecules and bring us one step closer to answering the age-old question, are we alone in the universe? But are humans destined to walk on Mars? A team of scientists from government organizations, academia, and industry believe it's feasible by the 2030s. However, sending people to the red planet is a daunting task. Long periods of microgravity and exposure to deep space radiation could be disastrous for astronauts. But NASA is taking steps towards this goal with the Artemis program, which aims to create a sustainable human presence on the Moon by the end of the 2020s. The knowledge gained from the lunar mission will be crucial in paving the way for Mars exploration. Other countries, such as China and Russia, also have plans to send people to Mars. And let's not forget about Elon Musk, the mastermind behind SpaceX. Musk's ultimate goal is to colonize Mars, and he's already working on a fully reusable transportation system, Starship, that he hopes will make human habitation on Mars a reality. NASA has already contracted SpaceX to use a version of Starship to land astronauts on the Moon, and Musk is confident that it will eventually take us to Mars. So while the road to Mars is long and challenging, the future is looking bright for human exploration of the red planet. What do you think about the latest discoveries on Mars? Share your thoughts in the comments below.